kitchen now. So here we are. We have our ingredients assembled. Now, here's the thing I wanted to talk to you about most of all. Now, I went out and I have purchased a can of tomato sauce. Now, for my little simple sauce we're going to make today, which is an old Sicilian recipe that comes from a family background, I also needed to get some tomato paste, so I have a can of tomato paste. Now, it doesn't really matter which one you get. Now, here's what I was talking about. Do you have 6 hours to cook, or do you have 4 hours to cook, or do you have 2 hours to cook? So for a really long sauce, here's what I'm going to say. You go out and you get some really great organic tomatoes and you chop them up like however you'd like to, or you buy a nice, really beautiful can of whole tomatoes. So, on that premise, what we're doing today is we're going to do a 2-hour sauce. So that's why I've chosen crushed tomatoes. Okay, so here we go. The first thing you want to do is you want to have a couple of onions, you want to have some garlic, and that's where we start. It's very simple. You just get your onions together, we peel them, we get them ready, and now however you want to slice them, that's up to you. Because if you like big chunks of onions in your sauce, then you cut them chunky. If you want them like a little pureed, then you get your little Vitamix out, and that's how you do that too. But for me, for today, since we're doing a 2-hour sauce, I'm going to just quarter the onions just like this. And it doesn't really matter. Good knives, good chefs. Bad knives, cut fingers. So, you choose. What would you rather have? Good knives? No cut fingers? I like it the way I like it. So you just do that way you like it. And the more you cook, the better you will feel about choosing your knives, choosing your pots, choosing your skillets. But we'll go on to that a little later. Right now, we're just trying to assemble our ingredients and talk about like how the sauce is going to come out. Now, the way I like my sauce to taste is I like it a little bit on the sweet side. Now, and as everyone knows, tomatoes reek with acid. They're so acidic. So today what I'm going to be using is agave to balance that acid. It neutralizes it. Now, you can use white sugar, you can use honey, you can use whatever you would like to use. But for me today, I've chosen agave, which comes from the desert, comes from a very natural thing. Now, that's the other thing I'd like to bring out. I like all natural ingredients. So, for each and every one of us, I want to show you right now, I've diced my onion. I'm turning it around to my stove. I'm lighting it, and as everybody knows, this is a beautiful gas stove, and I'm adding my olive oil. Now, to me, olive oil, you can use extra virgin, you can do regular, but what I know about olive oil is I like a lot of it all the time, and it just doesn't matter. It's so good for you. So, I'm adding my onions. Now, toss them lightly, gently, heavily. It just doesn't matter. All you want to do is get those onions to cook now until you see clear through them. And while they're cooking, now let me talk to you a little bit about garlic. Garlic is my favorite friend. I use garlic in everything, everything, everything. There's tricks about garlic that people just don't know. Everybody thinks that you can just have a little bit of garlic. Here's how you do it. With any kind of knife, it doesn't matter. Just take care. All you want to do is take your hand and smash it as hard as you can. See, you get a little bit of angst out. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing about garlic is releasing the flavor of the garlic. And the only way you get to do that is by smashing it, slicing it, and it doesn't matter what kind of pieces you put it in, but the trick is letting it sit before you add it to the ingredients. You have to let it sit. Just like when you take a pot roast out or you take a steak off the grill, letting it sit makes the flavor come out so to the point to where it actually is the best. So, chop it how you want, grind it, put it in a crusher, I don't care. But make sure you let it sit before you add it. Okay, so we're going to stir our onions. We're going to see how they're going. Oh, nicely. So while that's all going on, I'll be opening my cans. Oh, I think one more. You just can't get too much garlic. Pound it. Oh, yeah, get it out. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Letting the garlic sit. Now, garlic's good for everything. Garlic is so medicinal, and that's part of why I like Italian cooking so much. It's because there's so much garlic involved. Right, so here we are. Keep stirring the onions, making sure that's going okay. Now, you don't want to add the garlic too soon, because if you overcook garlic, then you don't get that best flavor out of it. You just don't want to have that burnt garlic flavor, except for unless you're cooking shrimp. There's always an exception to every rule. So for me, when I get cans out of the store, I make sure that I like to wipe the tops up of each can before I open them. Now, as far as the order of the ingredients and adding the ingredients into the sauce, and yes, this is a new can opener, which I'm not familiar with, but I'm sure they're going to come over here and tell me how to use it. Alrighty. Alright. So, we'll just keep moving forward until I get command of the new can opener. They used to give me one that actually worked. Hey, crew, over there. Are you kidding me? I need a can opener that actually works. Alright, let's see what we can do about this. I think I'm going to get some assistance. Meanwhile, I'll just stir the onions and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what's going to happen next. The reason why you want to let the onions cook down is because a translucent onion in olive oil will give you more flavor than an uncooked onion. And that's very important when it comes to making a nice, beautiful Sicilian succa. Oops, okay, so let's see. Alright, so here we go. We are presently looking for our can opener, but meanwhile, God, what happened? It slid right off. A little faux pas, I'm so sorry. So the next ingredient that we'll be cutting up here is our fresh basil. Oh, I see now. The fresh basil and the oregano and the salt and the pepper they're the most important ingredients of the whole succa. I want to call it succa because that's what my Aunt Teresa called it. She was making it early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, every Sunday for my family for as long as I could possibly remember. Fresh basil is so much better than just using the dry. But if that's all you have, that's what you get to use. So, here's what we're doing now. We're going into the part of the video where I'm having a little bit of assistance here. We're going to go to pause now because we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, and we'll come right back. Pause.